My name is Dan Young, and welcome to the Millionaire Code podcast. I'm a self-made guy that has made multi-million-dollar businesses from scratch. There's no way I could have done it without the help of mentors who provided me with the wisdom and guidance to help me create the formula for success. Each week on my podcast, I'm going to interview a hugely successful business person that will provide you their secrets to success, and that way can act as your mentor too. I can't wait to share their stories and takeaways with you. Welcome to Dan's Millionaire Code. Hey everybody, Dan here with Dan's Millionaire Code, and every week I bring to you an amazing human being who's changing the world. And today's guest is amazing. It's Coach Micheal Burt, and Micheal Burt is an awesome dude. He had me on his podcast, thank you.
Yep.
And he came down to Salt Lake City during our crazy snowy season to share some of his mentorship with you virtually. As you guys know, Dan's Millionaire Code podcast is absolutely no charge to you, but I ask you to do three things. And one is execute what you learn, take notes, execute, watch it over and over. Two, share it with friends and loved ones who may benefit. And three, here's actually the most important part of your gains from your execution. Take 10% of your net gains and give it to a good quality charitable cause. I love Operation Underground Railroad, saving the kids around the world. But go to the one that you choose or support Operation Underground Railroad. So we'll get right into it.
Nice.
All right. So today's guest is my unstoppable friend, Coach Burt is what we call him. He's considered America's coach, a unique blend of he's a former championship basketball coach with a deep methodology of engineering people to produce at a higher level in the business world. And he speaks all around the world. And today, just in Salt Lake, he spoke to over 1,500 people, a bunch of young people that are salespeople.
Yep.
He's got amazing books and growth methodologies, and he's a personal coach to a bunch of top-performing companies across the world. So, Coach Burt.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me. I'm super pumped to see you. I got crazy ADD, so I might jump around on,
That's okay.
on the questions, but let's dig in a little bit. How did you get to this? You know, I watch all your videos on the internet and on Instagram. It's like constantly putting great content out.
Right.
So how did you get to where you are today?
You know, I found my voice very early in life. I was coaching basketball at 15 years old.
Wow.
And it was because another adult asked me to help him coach a team. And the minute I started doing that, I knew this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So my first career was a basketball coach. So I became the youngest head coach in the state of Tennessee at the second largest high school.
Wow.
At 21 years old.
Jeez.
And I started
Barely out of high school.
barely out of college. Went to college. Graduated on a Saturday from college. Was a head coach the following Thursday. Now I had been there as an assistant and all those things, but I was using a real interesting methodology. I was using the whole person theory. And that was introduced in '89 by Stephen Covey that wrote the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he said people are made up of 4 parts: a body, a mind, a heart, and a spirit. Each of those parts produce 4 different needs, 4 different dimensions, 4 different intelligences. And so when I read that, I'm like, okay, how do I tap in to all 4 parts of a person's nature? Their knowledge, their skill, their desire, their confidence. And so I began using this whole person theory. Now, this was unheard of at the high school level.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine me teaching every kid the 7 habits of highly effective people and the principles of good to great and the 5 dysfunctions of teams and the whole person theory and the power of intention. So it was really unheard of at that level. So many people began to ask me, like, what are you doing with these kids? Like, it's working. And I kept saying, we're building a competitive intelligence. A competitive intelligence is just a small.
Taking notes on this.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of an advantage, and the advantage comes from buy-in and chemistry and trust and belief in the leader. And I was doing that through that whole person theory. So many people began asking me, "What are you doing?" That's what started me writing the first of 15 books.
Well, 15 books.
I've written 15 now. Yep,
Wow.
and so I really wrote those books because people were constantly asking me, "What are you doing? Like, how are you doing this?"
Yeah.
I had no intention of coaching adults. I was going to coach kids. I was going to go to college and be a college basketball coach. That was my dream. And
we're all just big kids, right?
Adults are just big kids. And, you know, companies began to call me and say, will you come over and speak to our people and motivate our people? And that led them to say, will you coach our people? And the next thing you know, I'm coaching some of the biggest companies in the world.
Wow.
And I'm coaching different divisions. And so I retire at 31 years old from athletic coaching after I built this powerhouse and to build a coaching company.
Wow. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
So in your career, I always like to get into this one. What's been like some of the huge obstacles and challenges, evolving from coach to now you're doing coaching on a huge scale.
Yeah. I think a big obstacle for me at this point is becoming known nationally and internationally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like to say there's lots of people in the world that don't have a talent problem. Like, I'm speaking at this conference, door-to-door conference, and the headlining speakers were me, Tim Grover, who coached Michael Jordan, who wrote the book Relentless, and Ed Milet, who's worth $400 million. And
Love it. That's awesome.
And in my own lane, I'm as good as those guys doing what I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they may be more known than me. They may be more famous than me. They may be more of a known quantity. So I think a lot of people don't have a talent problem. They've got a marketing problem.
Yeah.
So right now, a big obstacle for me is how do I become a household name? How do I become the next Tony Robbins, the next Stephen Covey, the next, right? Because I'm only 12 years into this. Mm-hmm. Most of my competitors or colleagues have been in this for years.
Yeah.
30 years, and then they have these big breakthroughs. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I'm at today, is how do I do that?
You seem to be getting some pretty good momentum. I'm following your stuff,
sure.
and it just seems like more and more and more.
A lot of it has to do with the strategic partnerships. I'm going on a tour with Sharon Lechter, who wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad with Kiyosaki. Mm-hmm. So she was the president of Rich Dad Global for 10 years, really helped take that brand to an international level. Mm-hmm. And Tim Story, who's a celebrity life coach, is coaching everybody from P. Diddy to
Tim's great.
So we're going on tour this year in March, and I think we're doing 9 different major cities, and we will do a full day, and it'll be me, Tim Story, and Sharon Lechter.
Oh, that's a great.
So we're very excited about. But that's the key to me raising what I would call my person of interest score. Mm-hmm. How do I get my POI score up? How do I become a known quantity in the world? Mm-hmm. And those guys are helping me.
And I'm so glad you're here too. So maybe our tribe, they'll check out your stuff and keep watching it because it's very unique.
Well, you're a person. What you're doing, especially when we did the podcast, and we kind of peeled the onion back, and I'm like, man, you're doing a lot of cool things. A lot of things I'm interested in, whether it be how you purchase the real estate. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How you're doing the different things. That's intrigued me because I take a lot of the excess cash from my primary business of coaching and purchase real estate with that.
Yeah,
and I have an affinity with that. So I'm always open to raising capital, learning how to raise capital. I'm always open to how people take a thought and turn it into reality and do something big.
Great. Well, it's super great having you on because anything I've gotten here, I'll share with you.
Yeah.
As I share with you guys out there, and Coach is going to share all his knowledge with you. I'd like to hear one of your top, I know you have massive amount of success stories, but what's the most amazing one that comes to your mind? Maybe one of the top ones where you've coached them, and I've read some of the results that you've got. I don't want to spill the beans, but maybe you could share one of those.
Yeah, I think the biggest success story, even to this day, is a real estate professional that was stuck at 45 deals. He was doing 45 deals a year every year. It was kind of handed to him. His prey drive had not been activated. He was kind of goofing off and messing around, and his company hired me to coach them. And this guy sat there every day, and I didn't think he was getting one thing that I was teaching. Like I was teaching this formula and this formula. He would just look at me. And I would leave there going, man, that dude is never going to get this. That dude who I thought wasn't getting it, fast forward 5 or 6 years later, is now doing 160 deals.
Wow.
He went from number 43 to number 4 in his market, and he's personally making over $500,000 a year. So the coaching changed his life, changed everything. That's a huge success story. Now, there's some big lessons there. One of my favorite sayings is long obedience in the same direction. Most of the people that I'm coaching that are earning the highest incomes, I have been their coach for years. Mm-hmm. Not 1 year, not 1 month, not 1 day, not one speaking engagement, but literally year after year after year. They have almost mastered the systems that I teach. They could teach the systems, but they would tell you every year they've gotten better and better, and they're breaking through those ceilings. So those are some success stories that we've had.
So out of all your students out there, and you got a whole bunch of them, what's the number one thing that you would say that you found that people do, students do, to impede their success?
My first thought when you said that is their think is too small. Their thinking. They think locally. They don't think globally. I remember being in Riviera Maya, Mexico in 2012 at the very first 10X Growth Conference. It was with Grant Cardone. It's where I met Brad Lee.
Grant's a maniac.
He's a maniac.
Yeah.
And Grant had asked me to speak at that conference, and I was sitting there talking about, I'm going to go back to Nashville and do this. And he just stopped me and said, look, I need you to quit talking like that. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, quit talking about Nashville. Quit talking about a local market. Your market is planet Earth. Okay. Now this was 7, 8 years ago. Right. So when he said it to me, I was like, he's right. Like, my market is not local. My market is the planet. And so many people think local. How do I do this locally? They don't think globally. They don't. So I came back and put all of my programs online. We began selling, nationally and internationally to people because of that statement he made to me. So a lot of people that I coach are thinking too small. They're playing too in a smaller. They're fishing for bluegills versus for blue marlins.
Man, that completely resonates because, we've had my first company, PC Laptops, started 30 years ago, right? And we grew it to 9 stores, and we're doing really good. We're doing really good revenue. But I was like, I got comfortable, I'm like, hey, it's good, and I got a good team, and we're making good money. Customers are happy. And that's when we started the Zydex company online. It was crazy. Literally within just a couple of years, we did what we did in 30 years internationally. Mm-hmm. And then now that, crazy. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's
you mentioned something. I talk a lot about the concept called prey drive, PREYDRIVE. Okay. Prey drive is typically referred to in animals, specifically dogs. A dog has a prey drive, okay? But as the more I study this concept of prey drive, it is an instinctual ability to see something, either optically with the eyes or mentally with the mind, and go get it. In the dog world, it's see, capture, kill, prey, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the more I study this concept, the more I begin to believe humans have prey drive. Many times it has not been activated. Okay, so when you're telling me that story, you had it, you went out and got it, then you got comfortable. What suppresses prey drive is satisfied needs.
Oh.
Okay, if you study a dog, what I found fascinating is the reward for the dog chasing the prey is not actually catching the prey. It is the freedom to pursue the prey. The pursuit actually becomes the reward.
Pursuit of prey.
That's right. Not just catching it. So it's an internal thing. Like, man, I have the freedom and ability to go pursue something, right? Well, humans are similar. I think there's activators of prey drive. Competition is an activator of prey drive. Fear of loss is an activator of prey drive.
True.
Being inspired by others, environment, exposure to something bigger is an activator of prey drive. So a lot of people become successful, and then because their needs are met, they become complacent.
Yep.
Or they become static.
Been there.
So think of energy as dynamic, static, or entropic, right? And I try to keep people in a dynamic state by constantly reactivating the prey drive.
So what do you do to reactivate that?
I typically try to find out what is the key activator for you. So out of the ones I shared with you, what activates your prey drive the most? Is it competition? Is it fear of loss? Is it when you're inspired by other people? Is it an environment that you place yourself in? Is it exposure to a new concept? What do you think activates yours?
For me, it's inspired by other people because sometimes we get a little cocky, and we do really well. Oh, we're making millions of dollars, really cool. Yep. And then you sit down with somebody who's worth like $6 billion.
Yep. That's exactly right.
And I asked some of those guys, like, okay, well, what you're still going crazy and doing
right.
And I'm like, yeah, I treat it every day like day one, man.
That's right.
And they're like, because really what you're saying, the pursuit of prey,
that's right.
It almost gives you this big endorphin rush.
That's right. That is the reward.
Yeah, and if it's helping other people,
yes,
like that endorphin rush compounds.
Yes.
That's been the big one. And this is like having you come on.
Yeah.
Like it's great because we give each other energy,
that's right.
man.
That's right.
And then we want to do more.
Yes.
And we're like, man,
that's right.
These guys can do it. And it's not that hard.
Well, and I think exposure, like when me coming to your facility here and seeing how you're using it. Like, I'm very interested in having call centers. I'm very interested in building a concept called greatness factories, which are these factories where we manufacture greatness, in all walks of life, the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. So when I walk through, my mind is activated. That activates my prey drive.
If you got time, though, I'll show you some processes maybe that are goals you could share and implement.
Absolutely.
Get your call center rocking.
Well, I think, that because I think if you have X number of salespeople, what if you added more, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what if you added more? What if you, so those are all things I'm interested in.
That's killer, man. be happy to help in any way I can.
Absolutely.
Okay, so maybe we can break it down. You've given us some amazing knowledge here, and I like to document this, and we can kind of reshare it, everybody. Are there any other big, like important, heavy hitter pieces of wisdom that you can give these guys and girls out there that they can take notes on right now and take action on?
Well, you mentioned about when you spend time with big-time people, okay? Big-time people operate from these assumptions. We go to bed tired, and we wake up hungry, okay? We go to bed tired, we wake up hungry. It all goes to zero at midnight. Everything goes to zero. And 3, there comes a time when winter asks what you did all spring and summer. Is that you never allow yourself to get into a complacent state because you know, right? As a basketball coach, I used to tell my players, championships are never won during the season. They're always won during the off season. And how you prepare and how strong you are mentally, physically, emotionally. And so I used to tell my players all the time, there comes a time when winter's going to ask what we did all spring and summer because winter was when the season was. Well, winter's coming, right?
Oh, yeah.
But for individuals, I won't say retirement is coming, but later's coming, whether you're ready for it or not, right? So big-time people, for those out there watching, never allow themselves to get in a static position because they go to bed tired and they wake up hungry. It all goes to zero at midnight, and they know what takes years to build up can take seconds to tear down. So that's the hunger I try to instill in people.
That's gold.
Yeah.
So you've given us a lot of tips. I want to kind of summarize some of the stuff that I've learned from you so far. Competitive intelligence.
Yes.
And then we talked about long obedience in the same direction.
Right.
And then prey drive.
Yes.
Like we're all like dogs, right?
Yep.
See it, get it.
That's right.
Dogs can be satisfied with their needs. We all can be that, right?
Yes.
But the pursuit of prey is, I don't even know what
Is the reward.
Is the reward.
The ability to pursue something bigger needs to become the reward, okay? Now, here, let me explain what I mean by that. I coach a lot of companies, different types of companies, and they are bringing me in to activate the prey drive in their employees, okay? Sales teams, managers. And I see people use tricks or gimmicks or rewards, a lot of external rewards. Like if you do this, you get a Starbucks gift card. If you do this, you get a trip. If you do this, and I don't do any of that in my company because I've tried to build high degrees of personal responsibility, meaning you're doing it for you and us, right? And the reward is the ability to wake up every day and pursue something big. That is the reward. That is actually better than any external reward I could ever give you.
That's completely true. I mean, and every single person that I've had on the podcast, right, that's done really well, say the same thing. Because, you know, when you get your Lambo or you get your $5 million in your checking account, you don't know what to do with it or whatever it is, that's really not all that impressive. It's like not that amazing when you get to that little pot.
That's right.
It's that battle and all that muscle you're building on your way to that and getting punched in the face and bleeding all over yourself and keep going, right?
Yes, that's exactly right.
That's where the power is.
That's where, to me, the big-time people, like I said, the big-time people still go hard whether they have to or not. They have that relentless spirit. They have the relentless pursuit. And so I just learned from being a basketball coach that we could be really good on one night and get beat the next night. So I never got comfortable. Success doesn't care what you did yesterday. Right? Like, don't read your own newspaper clippings. Don't buy your own hype. Don't, I just operate from a little bit of a healthy fear of every day that, like I said, what takes years to build up could take seconds to tear down.
We say this little joke, though, with some of our sales teams. Hey, we got paid for yesterday. Yeah, it's today. In fact, we got paid great. We did well, and the customers are happy.
Right.
And all those things. But, it's a fresh day, man. Fresh opportunity.
Fresh day.
We always say we're like dwarves in a gem mine, like the 7 dwarfs. Yeah. We're dwarves in a gem mine. Hey, fresh day to mine.
That's right.
Right?
And that's the way you need to think. Every day. Go to bed tired, wake up hungry.
This is amazing. Okay, so I've got your website where people can find you, Coach Burt.
That's correct.
.com. Is there anywhere you would like to direct the viewers to go check out your coolest news thing?
I would say, Instagram is a great place to follow me. Just search Coach Micheal Burt. I think I kind of, codify things and break things down and follow along with me in coaching in different arenas and different sectors. And I think that's a good place. You can DM me if you got any questions about anything. We do retreats around the country. I have coaching programs.
Your retreats are awesome. I keep seeing them. I don't want to go.
Yeah, these are really cool things where we go deeper in a 2 or 3 day setting, and there's a lot of intimacy there when you're in a room with big time people, and you get unique access to people you typically wouldn't get access to.
That's cool.
You know, so spending 2 days with someone who's done something really big and asking them anything you want to ask is a good thing.
This is great.
Yeah.
Is there any last thing that you love the guys and girls out there to see?
I think my mission in life is to let everybody know every person on planet Earth needs a good coach in their life, needs a good mentor in their life, needs a good person pouring into them in their life, who will have conversations with you that you may or may not want to have. They will push you to do some things you may or may not want to do, but they will take you to a place that you didn't even know that you wanted to go to. That's what a good coach can really do, whether it be through your mentoring, my mentoring. We're in the business of helping people get to a higher frequency.
Man, I love your energy, man.
Thank you.
It's great. And guys and girls, you feel that energy. So go follow Coach Burt. Just go to coachburt.com or look at his Instagram. I'm going to share all the links so you can find the coach right below this podcast. So go see him, follow him, share it with all your friends, man. He's awesome. And remember the 3 things I ask of you. Yep. 1, take notes. If you got to watch this thing like 5 times over, take notes, execute on all this wisdom. And look, what are you paying for this wisdom? 0. But how you can reward yourself is to execute, share it with your friends, and take 10% of your gain and give it to a great charity. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're awesome,
I
Coach.
enjoyed it.
Okay. Love you guys and girls. We'll see you guys next week at Dan's Millionaire Code.